Right, motorcycle horns, Harley Davidson horns, are they all that? RevelatorAlf. No, they're not, are they? Let's face it, they are pretty feeble. And this is not just for Harley Davidsons, of course. I've got the Sport Glide here, the heroic Harley. It's pretty much for all motorcycles, isn't it? Now, there are options that you can get some upgrades. You can get some higher frequency or lower frequency. You can get some higher decibel ratings as well. This is how it all basically works. Let's watch this.
A sound wave is measured in cycles. A complete cycle per second is 1 Hz, and that equals the frequency. The more cycles per second, the higher the frequency. Less cycles, lower frequency. A sound wave of equal frequency may have a different sound level due to the amplitude of the wave, the height of the wave. So the frequency of a sound wave is what we hear as pitch. The higher the frequency, the higher the pitch. The higher the sound intensity, the higher the decibel rating.
Well, a few weeks have passed, would you believe, for me to get these alternative horns for the motorcycle. Now, I wanted to talk about the stock horn on the Harley, which is about 103, 105 decibels. You can buy another horn from Harley Davidson, which actually increases it to about another 3 decibels, I believe. Now also you should measure the horn decibel rating at about 2 meter distance as well. So we're going to do that with the standard horn, but also this is supposed to be 118 decibel rating. Very garish colour, I know, but a little bit of spray paint would be fine as well. I also got these 2 horns as well. Now one is set at a higher frequency, so this is 510 Hz and this is 410 Hz. So one is low, one is high. You're supposed to have them together, and so they have a dual tone effect. But the decibel rating on these was 130, I believe, as well. So let's just see exactly what the decibel rating is for the stock, and then the 118, and then individually the 510 and the 410 Hz, and then together. And let's see what that is first. Then we'll talk about mounting them. Now I must say at this point as well, I'm not even considering the SoundBOMB or the air horns that you can get for any of the motorcycle or for Harley Davidsons, of course. Most of these extra horns, these high powered horns, will require a relay and a direct feed from the 12-volt supply. So bear that in mind as well. The reason why I'm not talking about the SoundBOMB and the air horns is because this video is really about trying to get horns with a higher decibel rating, but will still be very stealth-like, and you could hide them on the motorcycle. Those are the big air horns. You'd have to put them on the side, and whilst they look pretty cool, they are very obvious as well. So this is a reason, trying to get a higher sound, a higher horn sound as it were, but still very incognito. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so I have a battery here as well. And if you remember a couple of videos ago when I was talking about preparing for a video, this is my wiring circuit as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up the my decibel meter, and I've got another camera there, and I'm going to just film it as I plug away and set off the horn, and we'll see how we do. Right, so I've set up the camera over there with the decibel meter, which I'm just going to go over to now. We can see here. There we go, and there's the camera there, and it's also 2 meters away from the bike as well, or thereabouts. Right, let's just see what the decibel rating is for the standard horn. Let's do that now. Okay, that achieved 102.6. Check that out up there. Right, so the next decibel rating will be for the very garish 118 decibel. Let's check that one out. that is significantly louder. Actually, it sounded louder, but it's only marginally louder here, 104 decibels. It's supposed to be 118. Okay, so next we're going to test the air horn for the 410 Hertz. Let's check that one out. That is 105.8 decibels. A little bit louder still, not bad. Let's try the 510. Now that is 107.3. So the 510 Hertz is higher in pitch, in frequency, and it's also loudest as well. Let's put them together, see what we got. Now that is loud, and that's 112 decibels. There we go, 112. Right, so there you go. So having these two wired together, that's going to give you the highest sound, but you're going to have a relay for this to have direct power. But just having the power from your existing horn is not going to be sufficient enough to power these off. It may be enough just to power this as well. Now, another thing to note as well, on all of these horns, on any of these horns, you have these parts here, there, and there. Now inside there's a little screw. Now the way horns basically work is that power is applied to an electromagnet which pulls the plate here, let's say, towards it, and that vibration causes the sound. Once it hits the contact, that breaks the circuit and then it comes back out. So that in and out vibration makes the actual sound. You can adjust at the point where it hits that disconnection breaker point, if you will, by this little screw. Now that screw, if you turn it in, turn it out, will slightly change the tone. So if you're just looking for a difference in tone, before you actually go spending any money on a new horn, you can actually just cut away here, in there, turn the little screw a little bit, and you can adjust the tone just slightly, and it's for any horn, it's exactly the same. But if you're looking for a completely different sound and decibel rating, you're going to need to change the horns on the bike. Right, now we've got that out of the way. So frequency, higher frequency, and then higher decibel rating, right? We all kind of know that now. That is green, isn't it? Whew. Right, now about putting these on the bike. So here is the issue. Actually trying to get these larger horns onto the bike is going to be quite problematic, I think. The single horn on either one gives you a little bit louder decibel rating, certainly gives you a different frequency, that's for sure, certainly better than the stock, but it's only marginal. It's only when they're together then you get the full benefit. So if you're going to have this kind of an arrangement, you're going to have to find some way of mounting them. If you want them to be incognito, unfortunately, I'm afraid to say, you're not going to be very successful because they are big and bulky. However, you could mount them just by the existing horn setup. You're going to have to make a new bracket, have them side by side, something like that, just in front. There is enough space there, but they will stand out a little bit. Let me just show you. Right, horn here, 1, 2. So say, mount them something like that somehow, and we're going to have to try and mount them underneath here. And if you kind of mount them here, one there, let's say one there, they will stick out quite a bit. By the time you put a bracket on there as well, there's going to be just about enough room to clear the front fender. There isn't a lot of room there. You could try and mount them higher up here, but again, you will need another bracket. It is possible, definitely possible. If you're just wanting a little bit more sound, then actually something like that with a higher decibel rating. But I've got to say, the sound on this isn't that great either compared to stock. So whilst there might be a little bit more benefit, actually not a great deal of benefit. So really, it's a big puzzle. Which horn is going to give you the biggest change in frequency? The higher the frequency, the more attention attraction you're going to get. And also, the higher the decibel will give you the same attention attraction as well. So that's a big thing. If you want a higher decibel rating, you're going to have to go with a horn that is physically larger, or a duplex system, or dual system as well. Then it's a case of mounting it. Now, Depending on which motorcycle you have, of course, whether it's a cruiser type, Harley Davidson type, or whether it's a big tourer or even a sports bike, you might be able to find better ways to hide them on the bike, behind fairings, behind plastics, behind covers, that kind of thing. If you've got a naked bike, let's say, it's going to be harder to hide those. So achieving the higher sound, the higher decibel rating isn't a major issue. What is the issue if you want to have the horns hidden and very subtle, or you want to have them fully exposed? That's going to be the choice you're going to have to make, and it really depends which bike you've got and where you choose to mount them. You will have to fashion and fabricate different brackets for them. Certainly if you're going to go for a dual setup, you will have to do something like that, but it is manageable. But it's what it will look like afterwards. That's what you've got to ask yourself, whether you really want to have something like this on your bike, a Harley Davidson or whatever bike you've got. For me, I don't particularly like having this dual setup on the bike, and I don't particularly like the way it looks at the front there. A single one, possibly. So I might forego actual decibel sound or level and go for something a little bit more discreet, but with just an increase in decibel rating and possibly just a slight change in frequency. There's no right or wrong answer here. It really depends what you want, what you think looks good on your bike, and what you're prepared to do. But remember this, there is the little adjustment screw on any horn that you have, and the stock one that you have as well. You will have an adjustment screw, so play around with that as well, and then reseal it up with some silicone afterwards. That'll keep it watertight before you start spending money like I did. But anyway, look, there's lots available, of course, and you can get these from Amazonia, eBay, or whatever. All the links in the description below too. But I think actually I might go for the other one, pop that on there, and maybe give it a bit of spray paint to get rid of that green colour, and away I go. Well, I hope you found that useful. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share, leave those comments, and check out the website RevelatorAlf.com, and also you find the links for Patreon and PayPal there too. But as I say, it's purely an individual thing. It really depends what you think looks good, and if you want it obvious on your bike, or if you want it hidden away as well. And the different types of air horn on the bike, lots available for, especially for Harley Davidsons, that you can go for any accessory supplier, and they'll provide different types. But it really depends, as I say, what style you want and what decibel rating and frequency that you're really looking for. Right, anyway, catch you on the next video whenever that is. Ta-da now. RevelatorAlf.